Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you what Mr. Gwede Mantashe is prophesying about our economy. And I hope that you stay until the end towards my biblical reaction, because as simple as what I'm going to say is, it will put you head and shoulders above the rest. And hopefully you can share this video with someone one day, because we are committed that South Africa will prosper. You already press like. Let's go. So here's what he says. Oil, gas exploration will have a huge impact on GDP, Mantashe. And there we see a plant of some kind. Mineral and Petroleum Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe says the future of South Africa depends on the exploration and extraction of oil and gas, which will have a huge impact on the country's GDP. And Mantashe paid a visit to the extraction project in the Free State to assess progress on the multi-million rand project. Pretty safe. Helium has been described as an economic enabler which will attract investment into the country. The helium project, which has entered its second phase, is expected to create at least 1,000 temporary jobs, with about 250 as permanent employment. And the minister says the plant has the potential of becoming the world's largest helium producing plant. All sounds good. It's the usual. So he says it will have a huge impact on GDP. Well, do I agree with him? No, it won't. How do I know that? Because I've heard this before over decades. It won't. What's a second reason why I say it won't? Well, it won't because that's what he's saying. And I don't mean him as a minister doing his ministerial job, fine. But him as a lawmaker and a leading politician, him even saying everything he says in this post is the reason why it won't happen. Because our government is not the solution to job creation. It is the problem. Let me maybe show you something. I at least have a little bit of knowledge about this. Watch this.
Kwaito music is a genre originating from South Africa, specifically from a township in Johannesburg named Soweto. It is said throughout the 80s that the Kwaito sound was being developed within Soweto. Fast forward 1994, and Nelson Mandela is elected as South Africa's first black president. International sanctions were lifted, and there was a lot of hope and excitement among the youths. This was the backdrop where Kwaito music emerges into the mainstream. The beginnings of Kwaito music was a house song played at a slower tempo, with vocals repeating catchy phrases throughout the song in a hip-hop sort of style. These phrases were in Tsotsi-tao, which is a form of slang spoken in the townships. DJs were integral to the sound, as they were the beat makers and the suppliers of the music to the people. Two important DJs, Oscar Mhlongwa, known as Oskido, and Christos Katsaitis, known as DJ Christos, are credited with being amongst the first to slow down the tempo. That was the beginning of Kwaito music. As the genre continued to grow, other elements like raga, R&B, some added percussions, and other dialects were introduced. In order to further understand Kwaito, it is important to know and understand the first Kwaito song that became a hit in South Africa. That song was by an artist named Arthur Mafokate, and the name of the song is... Look, I can't say the name here. I don't want YouTube to pull my video down. But it starts with a K and ends with an R. And in a nutshell, Arthur in this hit song is saying, "Don't call me that." Kwaito music at its core is a type of dance music, and prior to its emergence, Bansula was a dance form born in the early 50s in South Africa's racially segregated black townships. Bansula was a component that was added to Kwaito. Both Bansula and Kwaito represented the street culture, and because of this, the marriage of the two was seamless. The Bansula lifestyle became part of Kwaito, not only the dance styles, but also the slang terms used and the iconic style of dressing, the baggy pants, plaid shirt, a bucket hat, and the arguably most important piece, a pair of Converse All-Stars. Kwaito music gave us stars like Arthur, Umdu, B.O.P., Boom Shaka, Avashante, Teve, Trompies, Mashamplan, Bongo Muffin, Makentlas, Chisco, Alaska, Mawilis, Doc Shebeleza, TKZ, to name a few. And Kwaito music's reach has even gone beyond South Africa's borders. Next time you are watching Beyonce's Run the World video, pay attention to these two guys in the front. Does that look familiar? Baggy pants, check. Converse All-Stars, dead giveaway, check. Or how about Kendrick Lamar's All of the Stars video? Converse All-Stars, baggy pants, front and center. Shanty homes, is that a township I see? Kung Fu Kenny is clearly trying to tell us something here. This is Kwaito music.
I share this because the last group of artists he had there was TKZ. Now, that's when I found out about Kwaito music, went into it, got to produce Mzambiam, Shoza, went on to Kelly Kumalo and whatever, sold over 1 million singles of music through my company. The industry grew to billions of rands, started off working with the traditionally white-owned companies before BEE, and slowly the companies that started off working for them ended up becoming licensors, then ended up becoming joint ventures, and very soon the Kwaito industry was pretty much owned by the people who started and grew companies. My company was one of them by the time I exited after 2010. Which minister prophesied this? No one did. Which government enabled this? No one did. Which politician went out and asked for investment in this? No one did. Yet, a group of kids from Soweto ended up with a huge industry that added quite strongly to our GDP and training many young Black South Africans in many different skills. How did that work? Who was in charge of it? Who planned it? Who made it happen? No one did. Freedom did. We were more economically free in 1990 than we are in 2025. What do I mean? There was no one in 1990 claiming to know where the next set of jobs would come from. Yet, colleagues of mine across the industry hired thousands and thousands of dancers, managers, event managers, and on and on. And this is how you bring people together to create something amazing. You allow price signals to be the chairperson, to be the boss over it, because the price signals get to ask, are you happy? Are you happy? And only when the price says yes, you both happy, does a transaction happen. You allow all of those to happen, you end up with an economy. Here's the thing. Nobody knows how we're going to fix our unemployment problem, because nobody knew that Kwaito was going to come up in South Africa. Nobody knew that a bunch of black boys and girls were going to take their dancing and end up influencing the whole world to begin to dance like them. So, when minister says jobs will be created because of this and GDP, then I know it won't happen. Because all we know when we know how to do it right is The person who says, I don't know where the jobs will come from, but I do know who they will come from. And they will come from our citizens. And then they make sure policy is friendly to the citizens. You can imagine if when we had to do Kwaito, there was some person telling us what kind of dancers to hire, what kind of direction to take it, when they will fund us, who they will fund, and we had to fill in their paperwork, there would have never been history of Kwaito. Now, right now, what happens is someone's going to tell them, how many blacks did you hire? Then they're going to tell them, but how much of this? And then they're going to tell them, fill in this paperwork. And we have too many umpires when the only umpire, chairperson, boss that will make sure everyone is happy are prices. And then the government's role is to police it, that no wrongdoing is happening, and not some emotional vote-winning wrongdoing. I mean actual wrongdoing. Make sure we're not ripping each other off. Make sure we're not competing unfairly. But the government is not the solution to our jobs problem. It's actually the problem. Every idea they say about how they're going to fix it, that is the whole problem. When they say we're going to go out and get investment, you know, we don't actually need government to attract investment. If you stay out of the way, people's needs, which vary, are the attraction. So when I have old shoes that someone really likes, but they have new roller skates, that attracts us to each other. And I say, I'll give you the shoes if you give me the roller skates. And because they're bored of the roller skates, they're happy. I'm bored of my shoes, I'm happy. And we swap, and it will only happen when the umpire, the prices, say, do you want to do it? Sure. Now, as soon as government and politicians step out of that realm, miracles happen. My biblical reaction: the people will curse him who withholds grain, but blessing will be on the head of him who sells it. South Africa has an unemployment problem because the politicians, together with their uneducated voters, keep allowing the politicians to get in the way of those who want to sell. And as a result, a curse comes on the country. And if you remove the hindrances to selling, a blessing comes on him who sells. Now, all the intentions are put in a great way. We're trying to do this. It doesn't matter. What matters is, what are the outcomes? The outcomes is you make it difficult for people to sell, even by assuming what sales will do well. You can't. There are 60 million of us. So you get out the way so that out of the 60 million, the percentage that's able to sell ends up employing everyone else. So please, in 2029, don't listen to the promises of creating jobs. Look for the people who say we are going to get out the way. The rest will use envy, they'll use anger, they'll use history, they'll use resentment to tell you that we are justified to stop those who are trying to sell. This releases the curse on South Africa, which is called unemployment. And it's not triple challenges, it's unemployment. No, it's poverty, inequality, unemployment. Unemployment. That's the only problem. When everyone's working, no one is poor. No man can serve two masters because either he'll love the one and hate the other, or he'll despise the one and respect the other. You cannot serve God and Karl Marx. So let's make history together. Cheers.